All right, we're back. Everything's good now. All right. Yeah, just had to make a little adjustment there. And hold on a second here. Let's see. There we go. So we're gonna give people time to get back on here, and then we'll go ahead and try it again. We should be good now. Yeah, that was crazy. Yeah, I don't know what the heck was going on there. It just wouldn't come on. But hey, it's technology, and technology does technology stuff. Okay, so we just gonna give people just a little bit. You know, people with these short attention spans, you know, they're like, okay, I'm just gonna swipe on to the next video. Okay, all right, well, we'll see when we see you. All right, but in the meantime, we're gonna go ahead and have a wonderful broadcast tonight, and I'm so glad that you guys can join us. We're just gonna give people a couple of minutes to get back on here, and then we're gonna jump right in, and we're gonna get started, okay? All right. All right, good. Anyway, I hope you guys have been having a wonderful week. Had a wonderful week. I was looking at. Hold on, let me look at the calendar here. Let me look at the calendar here for a second. Here, hold on. Hey, is Thanksgiving next week? I didn't. I mean, when I tell you this month literally has flown. It just seemed like it just flew. I mean, October was kind of chugging for me, but November, to me, it just seemed like it just flew, man. And but yeah, Thanksgiving, I guess, is next week or week after. I'm not sure. And I know for some people, like, oh, you get triggered when you hear the words Thanksgiving. No, it's on the calendar. Most people observe it. Okay, so what you do on it, that's up to you. All right, but yeah, it's I think it's next week. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know, but anyway, beautiful weather we had. Now, for those of you who I'm telling you, I didn't look this up, but we actually experienced, I would say, our first full rain here in Arizona. Wow. So all of this time, we've been here since the 1st of September. It was a light drizzle that lasted for like a second. It was like a few drops on the windshield in the car. And I think that's all I've seen since then. I haven't seen any other rain. Like literally every day was bright and sunny. We may have had a couple. I can count on one hand the amount of days we had that was like cloudy and didn't see the sun. Every day you're seeing the sun out here, and I love it, right? And so these last few days, however, it's been cloudy, like you ain't see any sun. And so it was then it was getting even cooler, which it just made for a beautiful day, I think, even with that. But I missed the sun, and then last night, I heard my wife talking because when we go to bed, she likes having the rain playing, and I overheard her talking to our daughter saying that I'm glad she was saying like tonight I may not even have to have the rain playing tonight. And I was like, what are you talking about? I said, that's not the rain playing. She said, no, that's rain outside. I was like, oh really? Sure enough, I go outside in the backyard and it's raining. I mean, I could really hear it coming down, and I was like, wow. But it was something really interesting though. I don't know if that's a phenomenon here. Maybe I was just smelling something. I don't know. But I could really, how people say, I can smell the rain coming. It was very, I could really smell it. Like it wasn't a bad smell. It just smelled like rain. But I was like, wow, this is really interesting. I could really smell that rain, if you will, And the cat, even, she was out there loving it. She wasn't like walking in the rain, but she was just sitting right on the edge there of our covered patio there, where she can just sit there and just watch everything. because I knew she would love it. But she loves chasing those the lizards and stuff, that the little tiny lizards that go around and all that. That's like her thing. And but she was out there. I was out there for a little bit, and it was just wonderful. So anyway, loving the weather, and it's still pretty warm where we are. And I know the rest of the country, you guys are feeling this time of the year what it typically is. And but I hope you guys are nonetheless, regardless of what the weather is where you are, I hope you're getting outside. Never, what we've been talking about, the importance of us being outside, getting fresh air, getting sunlight. These are things, family, that, you cannot take for granted. You can't take lightly. Your body desperately needs that. And if you're a person that, well, I'm a homebody, I just stay in the house all day, you don't want to do that. In the future, I don't know how long in the future or how short, but we're going to talk about some things that we've come across and we're actually testing out now. If you're an individual that has issues with, if you use your phone and the frequencies like really bothers your phone, like, when it comes to that, some people, they complain about, like my wife, she complains a lot about when she's using her phone a lot, her fingers start tingling, and some to the point where they just start hurting. And we think we have come across something. We've tried different products out, and they just, it just didn't work. It didn't work as we hoped it would. And but we finally come across some things that we think that looks like it's working, and not just for your hands, but something for your head. I ain't talking about a tinfoil hat, okay? But and we've come across some things, and we're still testing them out now. We'll let you know in the near future about that and where it is and where you can get it and all that kind of stuff. But when your body's constantly exposed to these different frequencies and stuff, they do have an adverse effect in the long run to your bodies. And that's why it's so important for you to make sure you're making a point to get outside, to go to the park, especially go as far away from these frequencies as you can, to give your body some rest from all of this stuff, because in the long run, it doesn't do your body good at all. It just doesn't. You know what I'm saying? Even having a cell phone around you, over a long period of time, it doesn't really do your body good. And so this is why we have been steadily encouraging our people to get outside, lay outside in the sun if you can, even if it's for 10, 15 minutes. That natural frequency coming from nature, it really has a way of resetting your body and really bringing things back in order. And so little things like that we encourage, and we've been talking about these things. We have videos on these things. So, make sure you're doing that regardless of what part of the country you're in. If it's a hot climate or mid climate or a cold climate, it's for you. It's for your body. And please take full advantage of this. If you're able to get out, get on out. Okay. But anyway, so I hope you guys have had a wonderful week. And this has been, these past few weeks for me have been a pretty major time of reflection for me, thinking about and rethinking a lot of things, especially in light of things we've been talking about as of late. Again, for those of you who've been following us, we have been doing multiple series on taking a closer look at the Bible, who wrote the Bible, where did the Bible actually come from, removing all the assumptions and stuff away and really beginning to put our minds to actually studying and asking questions and not being afraid of the answer. There's a lot of our people who are afraid of the answers, so they don't even bother asking the questions. Instead, what they want to do is to simply continue in their matrix world. And that's what we're going to talk about tonight. We're going to get right to it. And so we've been asking questions like that. So we have a whole series on these different things as it pertains to the Bible, where we are actually looking at historical facts. We're not just assuming anything. We're looking at historical facts and doing side-by-side comparisons, and it's leaving us with a lot of questions. And that's a good place to be in, because the more questions you have, that means that there's there's some answers out there. You just got to keep looking, right? And so we've been looking at that. The latest series that we've done are doing right now is on the Holy Spirit. And where did that actually come from? What's the origins? What's the real origins of that? You know, many people just roll with what was taught to them in the church or what's in the Bible. But, you know, the Bible itself will tell you, out of the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses, let every word be established. And as I've said many times, it's interesting how we don't take the Bible at its own word when it comes to that particular passage, you know, because if it's saying out of the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses, let every word be established, then that means that we should likewise use that same standard when analyzing the Bible. In other words, there needs to be, at least according to the biblical standard, 2 to 3 witnesses that will verify that these things actually did happen, you know, and if there are no historical records that prove that, then that means more than likely it didn't happen. But when you listen to most people out here, they don't want to apply that standard. And if you ask questions, then they get mad at you. Then they say there's something wrong with you, you know, and, you know, so we don't do that here. And we've had numbers of people who've gotten so upset simply because we're asking questions. They say, hey, we're going to unsubscribe, you know. I got someone here asking, Ham and Shem were black. No, let me ask you this. This is a good question, and I'm glad you're asking this. I want you to put in the chat. Your name is Rise and Shine. I've seen you around. What historical proof do you have that Shem, Ham, and Japheth did exist outside of the Bible? You got to prove, bring evidence to the table that's non-biblical. In other words, independent historical record, going through Egypt, going through Africa, going through whatever, that show that these individuals, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, actually existed. Okay, so you gotta start there. If you can't prove that and you're just simply going by the Bible, well, that's a problem. You understand what I'm saying? So, and that's where a lot of people, we have come to accept the narrative or the matrix that's been given to us and said, this is the truth right here. We're just going to accept this as is. But very few of us will even question it, because why would we question it? You know what I'm saying? But no, we need to question all of these things. It doesn't make you a bad person for questioning it. It means that you're trying to get to the truth. At least I thought we were in the truth, right? I thought that, you know what I'm saying? So that is your assignment, Rise and Shine. I want you to prove with non-biblical evidence that Shem, Ham, and Japheth actually were real individuals that existed. Non-biblical. Don't point to a Bible verse. Don't point to a scripture. I'm saying historical record that says these individuals actually existed. Okay? So that's your assignment. And that's the assignment of anybody else that wants to take that on. We've actually done that. And so far, I'm still waiting for the answer on that one. I still haven't come up with anything. And we've listened to numbers of people on all sides, and nobody seems to be able to find it. But yet you have a lot of people, when it comes to the origin of man, they all fall into the narrative that's been given to us. And sadly, many of our people won't even dare question, like I'm questioning right now, even that. You know what I'm saying? If the evidence is there, great, let's go with it. But if it's not there, then that should cause some pause in us when it comes to what exactly we've been told. And we should be asking some more questions. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, so I'm glad you asked that. And I would hope you would take on that challenge so that we can get to the bottom of these things. And that's open for anybody. But anyway, so tonight what we're going to do is we're going to talk about these three things that I'm seeing are the triggers, if you will, that are keeping black folks in this, what it seems to be like this never ending loop. It's a cycle. You know what I'm saying? It seems like we're moving forward and then it seems like we go back. We're moving forward and then it seems like we're going back, but it never seems like we get to that next step. I'm talking about for us as a people. And so there are three things we're going to talk about. and we're going to look at. And these are three things here. And so we'll get into that in just a moment. And the interesting thing about these three things is because this matrix system that we're in, it operates, it has programmed people kind of like you would think like a hashtag, for example, right? Hashtags are basically trigger points. If you are trying to address it, if you're wanting a particular reaction, on social media for a specific group, for a specific topic, what do? You use a hashtag. Well, humans are no different. It's the same way. You put hashtag, if you're want a particular response from humans, from people, there are certain things you can say, there are certain actions you can do that will automatically generate a response. You understand what I'm saying? If you talk about race, for example, if you say something about women or something like that, these are trigger points that will cause people to give a reaction. If you say something about immigrants, if you say something about Israel, if you say something about Gaza, whatever it may be, these things are trigger points. Like if you don't, like in the case of the Jewish people, you got many of them say, if you don't stand with Israel, then you're anti-Semite. So these are trigger points. It's like, no, we ain't falling for that. No, that ain't true. I just don't agree with you. It's just simple as that. And so those are some examples there. But first, so we're going to get into that tonight. These three trigger points that I'm saying, and they will go by pretty quick. Let's see. So let me pull up for you just a couple of things that I want to touch on very, very quickly right here on our community page. I'll pull this up, and these are things that we talked about that we've been, brought up on our community page earlier this week. And then we're going to dive right into it. Okay. So I'm trying to keep it moving because I know I got people half sleep on the couch. On the couch. Greg, I'm messing with you. Okay. I ain't talking about you. I ain't talking about you. I'm talking about your neighbor. I'm playing with you. But yeah, I'm just going to I'm working hard to keep things moving and all that. That's me. Okay. So that's what I'm talking about. Okay, so this week we did an addendum to our series on the Holy Spirit. We talked about how this was on one of the main sources of this whole mystique, if you will, of where this thing called the Holy Spirit, where it came from. What were the main influences? Well, in our series, we talked about a goddess, a Greek goddess. Greg, I got you. We talked about one of the main influences is actually a Greek goddess by the name of Sophia. And we went into that in some great detail on this video. The link, I believe, is right here in the, it's right here. It's right in here. And I think it is. No, that was part 2. Just follow one of these links here and it will take you to them. Okay, just do that. And it's the goddess Sophia. The goddess Sophia. And Christine, I know, right? I thought about that when I said that. But anyway, the goddess Sophia, and which is a Greek goddess. And we went all into it and where that, and how this goddess Sophia, it's where we get the word philosophy. Sophia was the goddess of wisdom, right? And this is why in the book of Proverbs, for example, when it's referring to wisdom, is referring to wisdom as a she. Well, wisdom is a she because, again, most of the Bible was written in Greek, written by Greeks. I'm talking about in the New Testament, but it was written in Egypt. And so the goddess Sophia, we talked about the connection with goddess Sophia to the goddess Isis and Egypt and all that. So we went through quite a bit of information here. So if, before you react or respond or want to jump into the chat and say, oh, no, you didn't, go watch that video because that's where I really laid all of that out so you can follow along. You got the details. You can look at it all yourself. And then ultimately at the end of the day, you can come to your own conclusion. But we are looking at the historical facts of these things. And but at the same time, what we are saying, we're not saying that our creator and the one that created us We are not saying that the spirit of the creator isn't in us. We're not saying that, because it is. But does it fall within the narrative of what has been presented to us in scripture? What we're seeing that, no, it's not. You know what I'm saying? It's something even greater than that. Okay. And this isn't going into any kind of, okay, you got to cross your legs somewhere and say Om and all that stuff. No. We ain't getting into any of that. Okay. We're going step by step through all of this stuff here. So again, if you have not watched that series, please don't say, well, just give me the roundabout. Just give me the bottom line. This ain't the place just to give you the bottom line, because we're going to take our time here. And if you don't have the time for that, then this is not the place for you. It's very simple. But it's taken us it took us a long time to get to this level of deception, and it's going to take us some time to get out of it. So you just going to have to buckle in, and we're going to just have to hit it. Okay. So anyway, let's get to the next post that I did here. Now, this one was really interesting, the reaction I got from this one. This was something I found on Twitter. I'm looking at this image, and I was sitting up here like, that's Photoshop. Because there are certain, I don't know, I'm sure someone in the chat, they'll know, but I've seen, when you look at the paintings of some of these Native Americans, they'll have different painting marks and stuff like that identify their tribe and all that. And I have seen the one where it's like half their face is red. I've seen that. I don't know what group that is. Honestly, don't really care, quite honestly, but I know that they do have that, right? But I was looking at this image here, and I was like, bro, that's Photoshop. That ain't even real, right? And so when I showed it to my son, I was like, son, is this Photoshop? Like, I was trying to figure it out. So I was really hoping that it was not Photoshop. I was really hoping, Lord, please don't let this be Photoshop. Please don't let this be Photoshop. And so what I did was, I remembered, I said, that's right. There's a website that actually detects images. All you got to do is upload the image, and it will tell you whether or not if it has Photoshop on there or not. And so anyway, sure enough, I uploaded it, and ta-da, it's Photoshop. You can even see the outline right here where he painted it. I mean, it's right there in your face. And so, anyway, so I saw that one, and then this was another one here, and these guys here saying that, that they, let's see, they are jealous. We are the Aboriginal Australian that originally migrated to Turtle Island. Us at the ho ha ha. Okay. So when I tell you, like I said in here, I said, yes, many of our people are this broken and really hate themselves. And that's true. And yet, even when presented with the evidence, like I just showed you, in this second slide, they will still fight you. And I said, when you have to use Party City products with Photoshop to become the real you, then the Joker is not that far behind. Because, the Joker, that's what makes his identity, as the Joker, is that he puts all this makeup on and puts a whole costume on, right? Now, I was partially being kind of funny there, but I was also being serious, because what I'm trying to tell you, see, many of you maybe you don't realize it because you haven't really gotten out there to mix and mingle. But I'm trying to tell you, there are people who literally go to Party City. I'm not making this up. You think I'm making this up? I'm not. They will go to Party City, or they will go to on eBay, and they will order these headdresses, feathers, and get some of the makeup and some of the jewelry. I'm not making this up. And they will get on social media, take pictures of themselves and say, yeah, I'm just got my original, my real garb on, this kind of stuff. And I'm sitting up here like, oh, they're serious. Oh, they will fight you down. And then sure enough, it didn't take long. You jump into the chat, you jump into the comments of that of that post. You had people coming out and was saying, well, they actually had a point there. And they were just trying to make it sense. This one person was like, as a Hebrew Israelite, I was like, here we go. as a Hebrew Israelite, he said, I'm here to tell you, and I'm paraphrasing. He said that, yes, our people were here and we also came from Israel. I was like, hold up for a second. I said, anybody that's out here claiming to come from two different origins, you are a construct of Marvel Comics. I'm sorry, you are. There is nobody that I know that says, I'm from Philly, but I'm also from New York. I'm from Canada, but I'm also from Tuscaloosa, Alabama. I don't know anybody that says that. Now, they may say my mom is from here, my dad's from here, but I don't know of any sane person that says they actually come from these places at the same time. I don't know anybody that says that. Nobody. And it's funny, these same people, as I'm talking now, they won't say a doggone thing. They'll wait a few days, then they'll kind of go in the back door in the comment section and start writing the 95 Theses. But I don't know anybody that says that. Now, here you go. So you got people that are using Photoshop. I can tell you exactly what tool he used. Because I've worked with Photoshop for years. Photoshop, Party City, and then a mix and match kind of historical timeline. And these people are serious and will argue you down. I'm supposed to sit back and just be like, you know what? Hey, brother, you actually got a point there. Now, I got some of our younger people out here that will refer to me as Unc, okay? I don't go around telling people to call me that, okay? I don't have no title except the name that my mama gave me. That's it, okay? I don't do that. But tonight, yes, I will be Uncle tonight. That's what you're going to hear tonight. Because some of the things that what I'm going to show you, I hope and pray that it will wake up some unks and some aunties out there too. Because this madness is going to have to stop. Because you got Negroes out here that got 10% of white in them. They got 80% of African in them. And then they may got 2% of Native American in them. And they will go hard for the 2% and say, this is really me. So for those of you who are just joining in, maybe this is your first time watching this, before you open your mouth, before you turn into a keyboard warrior and start typing on your keyboard, there is no confusion here when it comes to where we come from. I'm talking about those of us that look like me. I'm talking about African Americans here in the United States, and even in the Caribbean and the what we call the African diaspora. There is no confusion. I would challenge you to go through our channel. We have done many videos where we looked at numerous markers from our language, the things we say, how we cook, the way we dress, our music styles. We looked at it side by side and compared it. And what you will find is, more often than not, it is more closely aligned with African culture and traditions than what we would call today Native American. Because the majority of you, what you have, the only thing you point to is, well, I got a grandmother that told me that I was all Native American. Okay, you may have one grandmother that was Native American, but what about everybody else? That one grandmother goes over everybody. That one grandmother just cancels out everybody else, all the black folks in your house. That one grandmother, it cancels out everybody. Well, brother, you don't understand. See, in this country, what they did was the Native American, they came over here and Columbus said that they look black. Well, again, let's talk about that. Yes, you got to understand something called perspective. These are Europeans that were coming over here. All they knew was white folks, okay? So when they were coming over to a country like this or a space like this, and they see people a little bit darker than them, then in many cases, that was Negro, that was dark, that was whatever the terminology that they were using. Were there natives that were on this land that were darker, that in some cases had complexions like us? Absolutely. Were some of the natives in this land enslaved? Absolutely. Nobody's arguing that. Nobody's debating that at all. That's true. Were there laws put in place that, that said that we're going to call some of these Native Americans Negroes and all that? Absolutely. So stop. You ain't got to type. Stop it. I'm already there with you. You ain't got to type. I'm already there with you. But what we look at is those internal, those things that you just do instinctively. You understand what I'm saying? Words that you say instinctively, expressions, facial expressions that you exhibit instinctively, music styles that you do instinctively, food types, seasonings, all kinds of stuff, spirituality, instinctively. That's what we look at. And we compared note to note, research to research, talk to people. And at the end of the day, more often than not, it points to Africa. So like I said, we're not confused over here. Now, you may be confused, but we're not confused over here. Okay. Now, as far as what tribes and all that kind of stuff, well, that's a different story. I'm talking about in Africa, because again, a lot of stuff got mixed up and all that. We get that. But the other argument they like to throw out is, where are the slave ships? If I hear one more person say that, number one, slavery was outlawed. When slavery is outlawed, what was the first thing that these enslavers they did? They burned their ships. The flotilla, for example, the one they found in Alabama, they found bits of it, but it was charred because they were trying to burn up the evidence. Number two, these are wood ships that are in salt water. Wood ships don't last long in salt water. Okay. This ain't the Love Boat. Okay. These wooden ships, a lot of times they had to keep rebuilding them and because again, when you're exposed to salt water for a long period of time, it eats up the wood. Do you understand what I'm saying? This is all proven. All you got to do is look this stuff up. Well, what about these wood ships, these tall ships that they have in museums and stuff? Because they weren't slave ships. Okay. And so they had no reason to burn those up. And so they preserved those. Yes, there were ships that they did preserve, but there are many others they did not. Okay. So you can put whatever argument you want to put out there, but at the end of the day, more often than not, what we are getting from a lot of these people who are going this direction is rooted in self-hatred. It is. At the end of the day, you have been trained by this system to hate who you really are. What you don't understand, you are trained to hate it. This is why what we're seeing today with this man versus the women, black man versus the black woman, the black woman versus the black man. All of this friction that you're seeing online is rooted in self-hatred. It is, at the end of the day. Why? Because we've allowed other powers that shouldn't be to come in to bring confusion and to have us all over the place, where now we don't even know which end is up. So what it does, it opens up fissures, if you will, in our in our psychos, in our minds, if you will, where it allows this confusion and all this stuff to come in, and now we don't know which end is up. So what do we have to do? We have to take the time to get rid of the lies, but we have to be brave enough to accept the answers, the truth answers as they come in. And unfortunately, a lot of our people aren't brave enough when it comes to truth. We talk about it, but a lot of us really don't want truth. Quite honestly, we don't. We love being lied to. Many of our people love it. It's just being lied to is the new soul food for black folks. It's the new soul food. It's tasty, it's enjoyable, and it's filling. But at the end of the day, it's not good for you. And many of our people have transitioned from eating soul food to just a daily diet of lies. And we just make things up. I've come across so many people out here that are literally making things up as they go. And when I try to say, wait a minute, what are your sources? Where are you getting this from? Why are you asking me? Why are you getting offended? I'm just asking for some info. Okay, so tonight, you're going to see Uncle's side tonight, okay? So I'm just going to talk straight to you, okay? But I'm doing it in love, because if I didn't love you, I wouldn't be talking to you this way. All righty. All right, so let's get into it tonight. So first things first, let me jump into real quick. This is just a friendly. Oh, so I talked about that. Yeah, I'll get to this. Let me talk about this real quick. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, ladies and gentlemen. Let me bring this back up on the screen here. I was on Twitter and I see, oh my gosh, did y'all see Angelina Jolie's daughter? She pledged, she's crossed the burning sands and now she's an AKA. And the amount of black females, young and older, that are literally, and I'm not making this up, that were literally getting on social media, on Twitter, calling Angelina Jolie auntie. I'm not making this up. They were addressing her. She's auntie now. Oh, I think I have an image here too. Let me bring this up here. Yeah, I had to do something on this because it was just, you gots to be kidding me. Let me see if I can find it. Hold on for a sec. I put that on my phone or did I? Hold on for a sec. Let me see. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Oh, yeah, I had to do an image on this one. Oh, yes, I had to do an image on this one. Right here. I'm serious. And here are the two tweets right here. Here's one, but there was other tweets too. Who would have guessed that Angelina Jolie would become the auntie of the culture? Auntie Angelina is a real one. And one of the things I posted on Twitter, I said, you know, it's not about this daughter, because they were like, it's so embarrassing to see how these black women were just losing their stuff when this young black woman, you know, she did her little step thing that she did or whatever, and they were just like, like she was really. Now keep in mind, these fraternities and sororities, you have black famous folks who have their children that pledge all the time, and it's really not that big of a deal. But this right here, it was Jesus. It was Jesus all over again. It was Jesus. It was Queen Jesus. I don't know. I'm serious. It was Sophia. That's what it was. Coming for real. And they were just making such a big deal. And what I said was, see, the sad thing is, all of this love and attention, it ain't about this black girl here. It's about Angelina Jolie. It was about her all this time. That's what it is. And they saying she's auntie now. So now they don't bypass the invites to the barbecues. Now they're just assigning any white person that shows any type of attention, concern, or care. We immediately now are bypassing the barbecue, barbecue invites, and now we're just assigning them titles to family. It's sad. It's pathetic, isn't it? But this is where we are today. And I would definitely argue that these sororities, and I would say fraternities too, because we've done videos on this as well. The fraternities and sororities, they were created for one reason and one reason only, simply because they saw how white people have fraternities and sororities, have their secret societies, and said, we want to be able to do that too. We want to be able to manipulate our people too. And so since Mr. White ain't going to allow us to be a part of their thing, then that means we're going to create our own thing. And surprise, surprise, they created their own little networks. The fraternities, the sororities, the Freemasonries, the Eastern Star, all that stuff. Everything that we created our own. So Prince Hall Freemason, Prince Hall actually went to England and said, can you please give me a permission slip so that I can start something to be like you, sir? That's how the Freemasons, that's how the Prince Hall Freemasons, that's how it began. I gave you the short, quick version of it. That's how it began. Can you please give me a permission? Now, I got some Negroes out here that'll get out here and say, well, wait a minute now, the Prince Hall Freemasons, now we done a lot for black folks, and we done this, and we built schools, and we did. Yeah, I'm sure you have. I'm sure you have. I'm sure you have. But there's an example that I always give fraternities and sororities and the Freemasons and all of that. I said, the thing is that you will save the best for your members. I've seen it all the time. It was one of the main reasons why I said, you know what, I'm done with Atlanta when we lived in Atlanta, because I saw how you had qualified people, black folks, for different jobs and positions and opportunities and stuff that would never get those jobs and opportunities simply because they were not part of the in club. And you want to know why Atlanta's in the condition it isn't right now? You start from there. You start right there with those groups. But see, we don't want to talk about that. So these fraternities, sororities, Freemason groups, what you see on the screen right now, it's about getting as close to white power as possible. It's basically white power in blackface. That's what it is. Fraternities, sororities, Freemasons, Prince Hall Freemason. It is black. It's white power in blackface. That's what it is. It's white power in blackface because it ain't moving any needles for the people. That's what it is. But see, we're not ready to have that conversation, are we? But we're going to talk more about that in a little bit. We're going to talk more about that in a little bit. But anyway, let's continue here. What was the other thing I wanted to? Oh, now this is getting to sombertry, and we're going to hit this real quick too. And we talked about this a while back too. Why are you rubbing your body with Dead Sea salts? Keep swiping. All right. You ever thought about this for a second? See, a lot of us, we've done things for a long time. This is why I'm talking about not questioning things. We just do it just because, right? Well, we need to start questioning things like this. You ever I remember years ago, I brought this thing. I was in the mall. Must have been in, where was it? Was that Florida? I can't remember. Anyway, there's a woman selling this. It was a kit of Dead Sea salts. And she was going in talking about, oh, it's from Israel. See, these ain't just any salts. It comes straight from the Dead Sea. And, this is good. Get it for your wife. It was for like Christmas or something like this. Like I said, this was like years ago. And she had the advertisement, the pictures up there, them scooping up salt from the Dead Sea and all that stuff. And I was sitting there, and it was all looked legit to me. And it had like a little certificate I think you get with it or whatever. And I was like, okay, cool. I get it. Right. But it wasn't until years later I got into my phase where I said, I'm questioning everything when it comes to the Bible, right? So I began to look at the maps, right? Everybody, they love the maps, right? Well, I looked at the map. Well, the Dead Sea happens to be the same. First of all, you got the name, the Dead Sea. All right, so that should be enough to tell you, wait a minute, I need to do a double blink on that one. Why am I rubbing that on my face, right? So anyway, that should be enough right there. But of course it isn't, because we've been programmed to think dead is what we need, right? But it's another thing that took place at the Dead Sea. What was at the Dead Sea? Sodom and Gomorrah. Now, Sodom and Gomorrah, according to the Bible, was the place where God destroyed this city. He torched them down because these are the most perverse and evil, this nasty, debased, whatever. According to the biblical record, they were just the lowest of the low. He said, I just can't even deal with these people. I'm just going to have to burn them up. And so that's what happened right at the Dead Sea. And so what we're told is that even the remains of that town and it's true story. You can look this up. They say it's still within the waters, so to speak. That's what they say. We did a whole video on this. It was a while back. I had some people email me. They're like, yeah, can you help me find this video? I'm like, I'm still looking for it because we've done so many videos, but we did a whole video on this, Now, here's the other thing. Where is the Dead Sea? Or rather, where's the Dead Sea located? In Israel. All right, let me give you another one. Where's Sodom and Gomorrah located? In Israel. So hold up a second. So this is the promised land. So God, or the Most High, he couldn't find any other place to find a promised land for his people. So he said, I just use the same spot that Sodom and Gomorrah. I'll just use that. Where Sodom and Gomorrah once stand. I'll just give them that. That's the best. That's the best I can offer them is the same place with Sodom and Gomorrah. Have you ever taken the time to even think about that for a second? Have you ever taken the time to think about that? Or you just kind of go along with what your pastor tell you? Huh? Have you ever thought about that for a second? Yes, it's all in the same place. So anyway, you're taking this salt and you're rubbing it on your face. Now, are there a lot of great minerals in this salt for your body? Absolutely they are. But with that kind of history or supposed history, why on earth would you want to put that on there? You know what I mean? So anyway, let's go back. So I said, and this bridge into our Samba Trade, what we offer as a solution, right? So we talked about sea moss, for example. We sell sea moss on sambatree.com. It contains 92 of the 102 minerals your body needs. Who needs dead sea salt? Who needs it? So you can get the minerals that you desperately need in things like sea moss, which, like I said, by the way, yeah, it's not a shameless plug. We plugging that, okay? We're just letting you know. And as far as body scrubs, for those of you like that, I love it too, like on my head and on that, because I be sweating during the day sometime, I got to make sure all that's off of me and all that. So we use body scrubs, but in these body scrubs, they have brown sugar in it. There's no Dead Sea salt in it at all. There's brown sugar and all essential oils, things like that. There's no artificial adders or anything that we put in there at all. None of that. It's all 100% natural. We list all the ingredients on our website on sambatree.com. All right. So you go to sambatree.com. We are taking back control of our health. And I can go on a long thing just about that. How, again, our people, we do not need their stuff. We don't need the stuff that they give us. We can get our own stuff. We can nurse ourselves back to good health. We can do all of that, but we have to be willing to do that, to invest our brains into start thinking that we can and start acting on it. Do you understand what I'm saying? I'm not saying you got to necessarily buy from us. I mean, that would be great, but you don't have to do that. You can grow your own fruits and vegetables. You can take the time to learn how to make medicines and stuff for your family and all that. There's a lot that you can do. You don't need that. You don't need family. Listen, do you know you can live a life where you don't have to go into the hospital at all? You can live a life where you're not under the care of a doctor. You can do that, you can. But you have to be willing to take the steps to get you on that road where that is the case. Do you understand what I'm saying? And not that and don't think you're a bad person if you still go to the doctors. Nobody's saying that, okay? But what I am saying is, as long as you're breathing, most of us have some options that have been put out here in nature by our creator. You just got to take the time. And that's what we're committed to here. Like I said, again, we're committed of eradicating high blood pressure and diabetes completely from our people. That's our goal, is to eliminate that completely. And I ain't just talking. That's our goal. That is our goal. And I'm very, very serious when it comes to that. Okay, so anyway, let's move on. Okay, so last thing here is right here. I took a picture of myself. I'm playing around, and once again, going back into the AI stuff. And I actually, you can use your picture as the basis of, creating something, creating another image. So somewhere in there is supposed to be me on this image. I'm just, whatever. I was just literally playing around, y'all. It ain't serious. I was just playing around. Look more like my dad a little bit. But anyway, okay, Mr. Herbert, that's your Sabbath, okay? And I would advise you to maybe take that you do that on your own time, okay? You observe the Sabbath in your own way, but not here, okay? We're not doing that. We're having a conversation, and yes, we are going to talk business, and yes, we are going to sell. We're going to do all of that here. Now, if that's offensive to you, then I'm sorry, okay? So I would advise you to take that to the full tilt. Don't drive. Make sure that, you don't, make sure you're not paying your rent. Make sure you're not going to work. Did you go to work today? right? Did you go to work? Did you buy anything today? All right. Is it the sunset or does it start on Saturday? Right. I advise y'all to figure all of that out on when that Sabbath thing's supposed to start or whatever. And then you abide by that. Love you, brother. Gonna love you enough to tell you the truth. We even did a whole series on that. The Sabbath, where it comes from. Who is the goddess of the Sabbath? We talked about that as well. Yes, my friend, there is a goddess of the Sabbath. And we talked about that. There's many historical proofs that we pointed to that shows you that. Okay. We talked about Asherah. Asherah, she is known as a goddess of the Sabbath. All right. So you may want to dive in a little bit. We provided you with plenty of resources where you can investigate that on your own. Okay. All right. Love you, brother, but I'm going to tell you the truth. All right. So anyway, so while I was on the AI stuff, I started getting inspired again, because I kind of stopped a little bit and start making some other pictures. So here's some other pictures here. Just take a screenshot if you want it. You can download it and use it for whatever, and also love doing images of, that demonstrate love between our black men and our black women. So, here's another one I did. And here's one, love seeing our children at peace and playing around and stuff like that. So this is one, again, I got a whole list of different artists I can kind of like pull from and get inspiration from them and all of that. So here's another one here. And here's one right here too. And, that I was looking at that automatically. I was like, man, this will make a good book cover for something. So anyway, so yeah, if you want any of those things, it's right there. Just take a screenshot and it's yours. It's yours. These are, even though AI pulls from different bits of the internet and all of that. So ultimately, you don't own it, so to speak, but these are unique pictures that are unique to, in other words, you won't find these particular pictures anywhere, so they're unique to us. And so because we are the copyright owners of those images, like I said, in a roundabout way, you can do whatever you want with them. Just don't resell them. Okay. That's all we ask. All right. Anyway, there you go. Let me see here. So let me go on here. So now I covered everything I need to cover. Let's go ahead and get into it. Okay. All right. So, there are actually a couple of stories that came out just in the last few days that I found to be quite interesting. This first story that came out, it was this story that came out. I don't know if y'all heard about. Oh, let me just say this. Let me start off with this, and then I'll get to the story. Okay, this is related to what we're talking about now. Now, when you sit down and you think about what are the three things, because we've been talking about this whole thing about the Matrix. And the Matrix, it was more than just a movie. It's basically a documentary, and it's telling a lot of truth. Okay. It's telling a lot of truth. And it's really a mirror reflection of how we live in this society. Everything that everything that has been taught to you as a way of keeping you within the way they want you to think, and to stay and remain in this system. For example, here in America, you're taught that America is a great nation. You're taught that America stands for truth and justice and righteousness and is one nation under one God. And, it stands for all of this stuff. And as long as you buy into that and hey, I fought for this country and, I bled for this country and all that stuff, to that degree, you are within a construct. You're within a matrix system. You understand what I'm saying? So you're within their belief system. What are some of the other things this system has given to you? All right. Well, the biggest thing that we've been talking about is the Bible. And contrary to the belief of some of our Hebrew brothers and sisters out here who wanted to say that they somehow, maybe we came over with the Bible in our minds or Bibles in our hands or in our back pockets. No, the Bible was something that was given, not just given to us, it was forced to us. And it was told to us that this is history. This is historical record. Don't bring any of your demonic stuff over here, any of your idol worshiping stuff over here. We don't want any of that over here. Don't you dare bring all that stuff, all that type of singing and stuff you do. Nope, that's of the devil. This right here is history. Everything that's tied to this book is history. So when you look at history based off of that, it is framed around Mesopotamia, it's framed around European values, it's framed around that, and it largely leaves out where you really come from. Now, do they pull certain aspects of African cultures? Yes, they do, because they steal. But ultimately, regardless of where they're sourcing their stuff from, it's helping to tell their narrative of history. Do you understand what I'm saying? So if you want to talk about what is probably the largest and the most influential inclusive platform, or teaching or belief system, I would have to say it's Christianity, because Christianity was designed to be inclusive, to include all of these different cultures, right? That's how Christianity, and when I say Christianity, I'm talking everything that is tied to the Bible. Okay, so regardless of what your belief system is, you're a Hebrew, you're a Seventh-day Adventist, or whatever it is, if you're using the Bible, you are under the umbrella of Christianity, period. Okay, that's just what it is. And so when you tie yourself to that, you are leaving out a lot of other historical things that are truthful. For example, if you only follow biblical record, if you only follow that, the Bible does not account for the kingdoms, for example, that are proven to have existed outside of Egypt. Kingdoms that were around tens of thousands of years. And I've mentioned this oftentimes, even in places like South Africa, where you have one kingdom that they discovered. They looked at it from an archaeological standpoint. They said this thing, whoever these people were, they were walking the earth upwards to close to 70 to 80,000 years ago. The Bible doesn't talk about those. Okay? The Bible doesn't talk about that at all. And Rise and Shine, I would suggest, before you keep chattering, go back and answer the question that I asked you earlier. Okay, that's your assignment, and I would advise you, because I'm about staying on topic. So if you cannot stay on topic and answer the question that I posed to you earlier, then I would suggest, okay, I'm being nice, I'm being kind, but I'm also being very direct and very clear. Okay, all right, just so we understand one another. Okay, and if you want to chat more about this, I'll be more than happy to. You can email me on that. All right. So anyway, going back to the Bible itself does not account for, you had kingdoms, you had kingdoms and people groups in places like India. You had in here, well, not here, but when you start going in places like what we call Central South America and all of that, when you go to those areas, you will find kingdoms, you'll find different people who have been around for tens of thousands of years, but the Bible makes no mention of them at all. It doesn't. Makes zero mention of them. And so anyway, so my point is this: if it doesn't mention that, what it's doing is leaving out those people. It's intentionally leaving those people, and it's forcing you to believe or stay within their construct. And when you look at the Bible, that construct is based off of Mesopotamia, Mediterranean, European worldview. Okay, it's based off of those things. That's what it's based off of. It is not based off of anything. When I say African, I'm excluding Egypt, even though we know Egypt is part of Africa. But the part of Egypt that contributed to the Bible was under the Grecian control, and then later Rome. Okay, we talked about that in detail as well. Okay. So you have to go. So once you step out of just focusing everything that you know about history, and you're just basing 100% of your knowledge on the Bible, and you start looking at these other historical records that are out here, you're going to find that the earth itself and the history that we do have that is out there and is known It goes way beyond the Bible. So you got a lot of people out here that think that the world starts and finishes with the Bible, and it doesn't. I know for some of you that's very hard to accept, but it's true. Because again, this was a narrative that you were brought into. Your people, if you are, I'm just going to use the word African American, okay? Black American, whatever you want to call yourself, don't care. When your people came over on those ships, they knew nothing about the Bible. Nothing. They didn't know anything about the Bible. We've gone through this as well. They weren't coming over here singing Negro spirituals that was based on the Bible. That was something that was taught to them later. Okay? That was something that was taught to them later. That was not something they came over with. They knew nothing about the Bible. Nothing. When you look at the spirituality of these individuals, even a while back, we talked about, someone brought up about the church in Savannah, Georgia, or whatever, and they want to put all the focus on some pews. But what was being overlooked in that discussion was the Congo Cosmogram that's all over in that church. We talked about that as well. The Congo Cosmogram, that's a whole nother spirituality there. But nobody wanted to skip over that part. But the Congo Cosmogram, that's a whole nother thing. Am I telling people that you got to use that into your spirituality? No, we're just looking at the actual facts. Okay, that's what we're looking at. So anyway, so when we were brought over here, we were taken from one construct, and then we were brought into a whole nother construct. And so that's where we are right now. So this construct right now tells us, for example, if you vote, then you will, if you vote, you're going to get lesser of the two evils, then things are going to get better for you. Well, that didn't work, did it? If you go to church every Sunday, then things are going to be all right for you. Well, that didn't work either, right? Well, if you read your Bible and pay your tithes and you pay your taxes, well, things are going to be working for you. Well, it doesn't either. But our people are locked into this mindset where we think that we just keep doing these things, but we're never moving ahead. Never. Because why? This construct has been designed to keep you at bay, right? So there are three things that I've noticed, and I'm sure there's more, but these are three main things I sat down and really started thinking about this, that keep our people in this construct, if you will. And we're going to have to start asking some serious questions and start challenging these things. The first thing would be drama. It's not in any particular order, by the way. Our people love drama. We love drama. We love seeing people argue. We love seeing people going back and forth. We absolutely love drama. Don't believe me? All you got to do is go online and you will see the amount of drama our people will grab the attention of our people. Rather if it's, like I said earlier, you got, the black men, going in on black women or vice versa or whatever. We love drama. We love it. I mean, we just love it, right? And what drama is the absence of peace. That's what it is. Now, interesting enough, today, artist Andre 3000, he actually came out with an album today, and I had a chance to kind of preview it, because I went to hear, because he just kind of came back seemingly almost out of nowhere and say, hey, I'm coming out with an album now. I said, let me kind of scrub through this and hear what he's talking about, what he's doing. The entire album is him playing these different flutes. And I was like, wait a minute, because I heard the first one and I was like, okay, maybe that was just the intro, right? Then I kept scrolling through all the other ones. That's all he's doing. And the album itself, quite honestly, is a very peaceful album. It's a very peaceful, a very calming album. It really is. And and that's what he did. Now, this is a departure from his other work, right? Which is rap bass and R&B and all that stuff. So that's him, right? That's what he did. And it was really something to sit back and to see some of the comments. You had people, it was kind of mixed. You had people who were like, man, this is a good turn of events. I've been longing for something like this, right? But then you have other people that was like, man, you mean to tell me this Negro, he come out with a whole album, him playing the flute? Man, come on now. You're gonna need me, you're gonna need to bring out something stronger than this. And people were going in. They were going in on this on Andre 3000, going in on him because he did a calming video. Now, in our upcoming installment, when we're talking about the origins of the Holy Spirit, we're going to talk about why peace, or rather, why quiet is so important. And it's something that, for many reasons, why you need to incorporate quiet in your life. We're going to get into that, but it was really something to see that, because why? Many of our people, we love drama. I was thinking about, you remember, I was talking to my wife about this, what she was telling me, and then I remembered later on, again, we were talking about Real Housewives. Now, I've never watched the show and never will. I'll never will. Okay. Never was into that stuff. And I remember when Real Housewives series came out, I think it started off with Real Housewives of Orange County. And that one, it was pretty much all white women, and they were just kind of going in on each other and, whatever. But it was, it's white women. I mean, how far are they going to go with that, right? How far are they going to go with that? Rise and Shine and anybody else, if you hang on, if you want to come on I may make the phone line live. So if you want to come in and have a discussion, I would love to do that. All right. So I just want to let you know. So if you want to do that, here's your opportunity. Okay. So, it's going to be, I'll put it out there when I'm finished. Okay. So I'm going to try to get through this ASAP because, I want to give people an opportunity. And you're like, oh my goodness, brother, I tried to explain and all. Okay. Well, you're going to have your chance. Okay. You're going to have your opportunity, and I'm going to give several of y'all opportunity to call in. Okay. I'm not going to beat you up. All right. I'm not going to beat you up at all. I'm going to give you opportunity. Now, at the same time, as we're having an adult conversation, if I disagree with you, I'm going to let you know. If I ask questions, I'm going to want some specific answers. We're not going to have time to dance around those things. Okay. So I'm going to give you fair opportunity to tune in and to say what but you're going to have to stay on your point. Okay. So I'm going to give you fair opportunity. All right. And I want everybody to see, I've done this many times, and most of the time when I do this, folks don't call in. So people going to have fair opportunity. So hopefully you're still around, but I'm going to give you fair opportunity. Okay. All right. And this ain't, like I said, again, I ain't into beat nobody up or nothing like that. Right. But we just going to, just like hear you out. Okay. Give you the opportunity to say so. So anyway, so drama, that's one thing, right? That a lot of our people have been, that's what I was talking about. And then what happened was Orange County, Real Housewives of Orange County, that was whatever. But honey, when they did Real Housewives of Atlanta, that's when it really took off. You remember that? Real Housewives of Atlanta, that's when it really took off. And with Real Housewives of Atlanta, it was, it was the fighting, it was the arguing and stuff, and they couldn't get enough of that. They could not get enough. Child, did you see them when they were doing this? And did you see when she slapped him and all this stuff? And it's just something that took off like wildfire, especially amongst our people, because we love that stuff. We love the back and forth. We love the clap back. And that's what keeps us engaged the most. If I was doing a channel on this platform, if I was doing video after video after video where I said, tonight we're going to call out this person. Well, tomorrow I'm going to call out that person. Well, tomorrow you won't believe the receipts I got on this person. Don't you know the numbers would shoot straight up, wouldn't it? It would. But if you don't do that, then it's like, ain't nothing really going on. So drama is one of those things that are like, it's like a hashtag. It keys us in onto what's being discussed and what's being talked about, right? That's one thing. The second thing, of course, would be entertainment. And I'm going to come back to entertainment in just a moment, but entertainment, that would be the second thing. All right. So entertainment is another thing that anything entertainment at all, if it's dancing, if it's singing, if it's doing comedy, things like that. I don't know about y'all, and I've said this before, I just haven't been really in the mood of doing a whole lot of laughing. And it's not that I'm more serious than anybody else. It's just I haven't really been in the mood. Because I'm like, ain't too many things funny now. You know what I'm saying? And because I'm like, wait a minute, when we got some things, we celebrate a whole lot for being on a losing team. I don't understand that. I mean, when you see and look at what's really going on out here, and how our people on many fronts are actually losing, what do we actually have to celebrate? I thought celebrations were mainly for people who are winning. I told y'all tonight, I'm just going to talk like an uncle tonight. I'm not saying you can't have a good time, but I'm saying we got to have to. Entertainment has become the cart before the horse, so to speak. And it's been something that has really taken over. Our culture has evolved into an entertainment-based culture. It's an entertainment-based culture. Take away entertainment, what do we have? And if there's no entertainment, the engagement is low. So that's what it is. So entertainment. The last thing, and I'm gonna come back to entertainment with some examples, okay? The last thing I'm gonna say is race-based worldview. What do I mean by that? Now, this one, I want you to pay very close attention to it. In other words, unless I'm coming to you with information that is race-based, more often than not, our people will not engage in it. Let me say that again. Unless I'm coming to you with information that is race-based, more often than not, our people will not engage in it. In most cases, not all. It's not applicable to everybody. But in many cases, it will not be. We will not engage in it. Case in point, when it comes to religion, for example, this is something we've been talking about. All right. So religion, for example, and this is one of the things that I noticed when I was in the Hebrew space, is that the Hebrew space is based solely on race. Truth comes second. Let me say that again. And like I said again, if you have a problem with what I am saying to you, at the end of this, I will have a phone number here where you can open your mouth, okay? And you can let them know, okay? It's race first and it's truth second. What do I mean by that? Let me give you an example, okay? What I mean by that is this. Let's just say, for example, what I've noticed in the Hebrew space, more often than not, there's more energy placed on this person was black, and this person was black, and this person was black, and that person was black, and these people over here, they were black too. Paul was black, Peter was black, John was black, Jesus was black, Martha was black, Mary was black, Joseph was black, Isaiah was black. I mean, it's the focus is on that. Okay, fine. Okay, the Sephardic Jews were black. Okay, so let's establish for a second that all these people were black. Let's just go along with that, okay? All of these people, the Judeans or Jews or Hebrews, whatever the word you want to use, they were black, okay? So let's just establish that for the sake of argument. Now, you got to follow your own logic. You can't deviate from it. When it gets uncomfortable, it doesn't add up. When you start following the history of these people, what was the thing they were pushing? I'm talking about these people, Jews, Hebrews, or whatever. When you follow them in Europe and all that stuff, what was their belief system? It was Judaism. Let me say that again. Judaism. When you follow what these people believed, it was Judaism. And I keep emphasizing that because what does Judaism use as their other text? The Talmud. You only are paying attention to the Bible, but these people were looking at the Bible and the Talmud. And when you look at the Talmud, there's a lot of things in the Talmud that aren't too savory when it comes to people that look like you and me, isn't it? There's a lot of things in there. In fact, there are principles and there are things within the Talmud that were used as a basis to enslave your people. So if you're going to follow the logic, you have to follow it all the way out. And this is where our people, a lot of our people would say, no, no, no. See, those are the other Jews. Those are the other people. That wasn't us. See, no, you can't do history like that. You can't. History ain't like some, when you go to a cafeteria, I want the peas, I want the rice, I want the greens, but I don't want this and I want this. No, no, no. You got to follow that logic all the way out. You got to follow it all the way out. You got to take the whole plate. You can't pick and choose what you want because it's uncomfortable. You gotta go with the whole storyline. And when you go with the whole storyline, you're going to find something quite interesting that the story ain't gonna. So you may have established that these people were black, but what did they believe? You understand what I'm saying? So rise and shine. What I would advise, I'm glad you're back. I'm glad you're back. At the end, once I'm finished, hopefully you stay on. I'm going to give you opportunity to call in. All right. I'm going to give you opportunity to call in and make sure I'm going to give you opportunity to 2 questions or 2 points that you want to make. You either have 2 questions or 2 points you want to make. I'm going to give you an opportunity to do that. Okay. So don't go away. You're going to have good opportunity, but make sure you stay on point. Okay. Make sure you stay on point. The line will be clear for you. All right. Not going to hammer, not going to beat you down. I don't do that. And if you've seen us do this in the past, I don't do that. I let people talk. All right. But if I have a question, if I want to interject, I will do that. All right. We'll not talk over you. We'll give you fair opportunity. So I would advise you save the keyboard and just get your points together, and then we'll have an opportunity where you can call in. Okay. All right. Give me an opportunity to do that. So going back to what I was saying, as far as the race-based worldview. So that's that. If you want to understand what we've been talking about with these different series, we've done Who in the L are you've been following, talking about the history of the church, talking about the history of Christianity and all this stuff. What you got to understand is when these people put these ideologies together, even though ultimately it was for the, pushing their narrative that was, European, Eurocentric based, right? Even though it was ultimately for that, the basis of it was inclusive, meaning that they wrote it in a way where it was applicable for everybody. Anybody can come in and be a part of the club, so to speak. Do you understand what I'm saying? So they weren't just talking about one group of people. When you listen to the gospel, the gospel says, go into all the world and preach the gospel, right? That's inclusive. That's being inclusive. You're just inviting everybody to come in. Okay. So where am I right here? Okay. So it wasn't necessarily race-based. So if you want to understand, many of us came out of Christianity. Many of us came out of the church. If you want to have a solid understanding of the church, if you want to have a solid understanding of the Bible, you are going to have to research and study things that are not necessarily race-based. I hope you're following me on this. Like, in other words, there are many lectures and stuff that I've uploaded over on BondTube, or things I've recommended to people and all that. And I'm going to be honest with you, a lot of it is boring. It really is. The guy ain't up there cracking jokes. He ain't doing this or that or whatever. It's going to be kind of boring because it doesn't have an entertainment factor. There's no drama involved, and it's not necessarily race-based. A lot of it is very plain Jane, black and white. And this is where I see we lose a lot of people, because a lot of people don't want to engage in reading or listening to stuff that doesn't have a race-based factor to it when it comes to religion. You understand what I'm saying? So that's why when you listen to Hebrews, for example, more often than not, all the teachings and everything is all race-based. But what it doesn't do is it doesn't dive deeper into the history of where all this stuff really came from. And in order for you to ever understand that, you're going to have to do that. Do you understand what I'm saying? It may not be from me, but it needs to be. You need to take the time and look at, okay, these church fathers, what do they really believe? You understand what I'm saying? So if you've never taken a study on the people who call themselves the church fathers, like Martin Luther and some of these other people, If you've never taken the time to study who these people really were and their contributions to what you call today the Bible, you're missing out a great deal. And the only way you can analyze and understand what you're talking about when you're talking about the Bible and the history around it is unless it falls within this race focused, space, you don't think it's important. Oh no, it's very important. So I hope you're following what I'm saying here. You cannot discount any of that stuff. So that's why I encourage you to look at things such as Plato. Plato played a very major role in the construction of, I would say, the New Testament. Plato did, and parts of the Old Testament too. Having a basic understanding of how Greek philosophy and spirituality, the role it played in the construction of the Bible. You can't just wave that off simply because they ain't talking about black people. You need to understand, have a basic understanding of what role did Greece played in the construction of the Bible, because it did. Historically, you cannot deny that. That's just about any historian that's worth his salt will tell you that. But see, when you're in a black centric belief system, the only way they will be able to analyze that is say, well, all the Greeks were black. Okay, well, if they were all black, but okay, now what did they believe? What did these Greeks believe? Plato was black. Okay, let's say Plato was black. But if you read the writings of Plato, at least some of his writings, he wasn't thinking twice. He did two craps about black people. He was pushing Grecian philosophy, ideology, spirituality. That's what he was pushing. And we need to understand those things. I'm not saying you got to become an expert, but you do need to expose yourself to that stuff and see when we start going there and start really trying to expose people to those kind of things. That's when people are like, I'm out of here. Now, that's not important to me. People check out because they don't want to hear that. What they want to hear is how all these people were black. And if that's how you look at history, it's going to forever keep you in this never ending cycle of ignorance. It does. It's going to keep you in this never ending cycle. So you're going to have to leave that alone, and you're going to have to open yourself up to really knuckling down and beginning to understand how these other cultures played a role in something that you say you're going to stake your life on. You understand what I'm saying? Because once you do that, you'll get a wider understanding of what this thing is in this matrix. You gotta, if I want to understand how to put together a shelf, for example, I got from IKEA, I'm not looking for the black instructions. You understand what I'm saying? I'm not looking for the white instructions. I'm looking for the instructions. Do you understand what I'm saying? If I'm trying to put something, build a computer, I'm not looking for the black instructions. I'm looking for the instructions, period. Do you understand what I'm saying? And a lot of us, when it comes to, let's say, in the context of spirituality, we only want the black instructions when it comes to spirituality. We don't want the instructions. We don't want the actual blueprint. How do they put this together? Do you understand what I'm saying? And that more often than not loses well over 90% of our people because there's no black instructions involved. Do you understand what I'm saying? So when you are studying not just the Bible, but the history around it, my encouragement to you is to go beyond just your black filter and look at it from a holistic view. And by doing that, you're going to find out a whole lot of stuff, and you're going to see just how much you're missing. Ultimately, it's truth above all. And I'm going to give you two examples of this, why we need to be about truth. These are just real world examples. And then I'm finished. And then I'm going to open the phone lines up. If you want to call in, like I said, again, you're going to have to stay on point. Okay. This story here, I'll pull it up here. Is it Casey? I had it right. Maybe I don't know. Y'all can correct me if I'm wrong. But this young lady, I'll just put it that way. She was in a relationship with Sean Combs for numbers of years. I don't know if you guys heard of this story, but it just came out, and she is suing him for like $30 million, if I'm not mistaken. We'll just go through a little bit of this. just a little bit, and then I'll just chime in real quick. Sean Combs, a producer and music mogul, has been on. Okay, we don't care about all of that. Okay, in the suit, let's see, Casey. Hope I'm saying her name right, y'all. Let me know if I'm saying Casey right. If it's Casey, okay. Casey, an R&B singer once signed to his label, who accused Mr. Combs of rape and repeated physical abuse over about a decade. I want you to follow me now with this, okay? In the suit filed in federal district court in Manhattan, Casey, whose real name is Cassandra Ventura, I'll call her Cassandra, okay? That way I know I got it right. And who had long been Mr. Combs' romantic partner, says that not long after she met him in 2005, when she was 19, he began a pattern of control and abuse that included plying her with drugs, beating her, and forcing her to have sex with a succession of male prostitutes while he filmed the encounters. In 2018, the suit says near the end of the relationship, Mr. Combs forced his way into her home and raped her. After years of silence and darkness, Miss Ventura said in a statement, "I am finally ready to tell my story and to speak up on behalf of myself and for the benefit of other women." And let's see, skip down here. Okay. Anyway, she goes on and talks about in this article, and this is the point I want to make here. Now, I'm pretty much done with that because you get the idea there. She goes on and mentions about how, yes, the lawsuit is against Sean Combs, but she also mentions that there were many other people around him that knew about this. They knew how Sean Combs gets down. They knew how he was treating her, and they chose not only to not do anything, but to defend him. Now, these are people that look like her, right? Black folks that look like her, that you would automatically assume, or, most people would assume that, wait a minute, brother, you or sister, you got my best interest at heart. You're going to protect me from this stuff, right? No. She said over a decade, she was being raped. She was being drugged. She was being beaten. She was being threatened. Now, like I said again, that was coming from her. Our lawsuit is against Sean Combs. However, there were other people around him that knew about it and did nothing. Black folks. So what you see now, like on social media, as this is playing out, now all of a sudden, all these Negroes want to come in, and now all of a sudden they want to, with their stories. I remember Sean Combs, because he is kind of weird. All of a sudden now they want to open their mouth. Now all of a sudden they want to say something. Now all of a sudden they want to speak up. But when this woman, and like I said, I can only assume that she's telling the truth because, innocent until proven guilty, right? And that goes both ways with Sean Combs. But Sean Combs there's too many stories out here about him for it not to be true. At least some aspects of it not to be true. So for now, I'm just saying she's not lying because, for now, that's all I'm saying, right? But it could be proven that maybe some parts of it she was. I don't know. But for now, for this argument, for what we're doing today, we're just assuming what she's saying it's accurate. For over a decade, you had people who knew about it, saw it, in some cases saw it firsthand, maybe were even participants in it, and said absolutely nothing. There was another video that I saw. I was looking for it recently, and I think it was Lil Wayne. If I'm not mistaken. Yeah. Anyway, I think it was Lil Wayne, if I'm not mistaken. It was some artist, and they did a short video where, if I'm not mistaken, someone was saying that he was almost at the point of tears, where he was talking about at the age of 15 some of the things that he had to do And I don't know if it was Lil Wayne. It was somebody. It was either Lil Wayne or somebody. And this came out recently. He was talking about at the age of 15, some of the things he was made to do, again, by black producers and people in that space that saw what was happening first time. Listen, you got people, they take the best, this industry takes the best of our singers and our people who dance and entertainers, and they turn them all out. And see, for the longest time, getting back to the race thing again, we only respond and react to these things if it comes out, if it's a white person. But if it's a black person that does it, well, you know, hey, listen, that's just, you just got some bad apples out here. We don't have the same fire when it comes to finding that out. Do you understand what I'm saying? What's my point in bringing these two things out? What I'm saying is this: as long as you stay within the color matrix where it's keeping you focused on color, you will never, ever, ever, ever be about truth. Because truth of the matter is, in this case, you have some real people out here, black folks, that are being traded in the human trafficking market. You got folks being traded in the human trafficking market by other black people. You have black people selling drugs to other black people. You have black people that are being raped by other black people. But we don't really raise the dial enough when it's our stuff. But when it's white people doing it, now all of a sudden it's a 911 emergency. Now all of a sudden it's the days of Jim Crow all over again. One of the keys of you getting out of the matrix is that you have to be an individual that stands for truth. That's one of the keys that's going to allow you to unlock the doors so that you can get out of the matrix system. Because when you stand for truth, it will unlock all of these doors. They break you out of this cycle. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because as long as you go along with this bull crap that you see happening to our women, happening to our children, happening to our men, and you just kind of like going, well, you know, hey, it's black folks doing it. Well, you know, hey, it's just what it is. As long as you just going along with it and just not really raising any alarms about it, you're going to stay, the status quo will always stay the status quo. Someone says she's not black, she's mixed. Let's call the thing a thing. Does it really matter? Is it right or is it wrong? This is exactly what I'm talking about. And thank you for giving us an example. When you look at things in just your filter is about race and race only, then what that says is truth ain't important to you. Right and wrong is not important to you. That's what that is saying. I don't care what she is. If it's wrong, it's wrong. Period. Rape is wrong. Period. So let's call that thing a thing. How about we do that? Then there should have been some Negroes around the master Negro, which is Sean Combs, to say, bruh, you crossing lines here. You need to stop doing that. Since, you know, we need to have a higher standard when it comes to how we treat our women, how we treat women, period. I don't care if they white, black, or whatever. Let's call that thing a thing. Let's do that. You understand what I'm saying? And stop pointing the fingers at why, but these other people ain't doing that. No, we need to be setting examples. But see, once you start talking like that, now all of a sudden people get mad. People don't like to hear that. But we have to, if you are trying to get out of the matrix system, it's got to be truth, and that's it, period. We have to begin to talk truth about everything. You know what I'm saying? Even the stuff that we do right and the things we're not doing. We have to be willing to talk the truth. We have to be willing to call it for what it is. And sadly and unfortunately, a lot of our people don't want to do that. So again, there's three things, like I mentioned. We love the drama. And if I was doing the thing where I was, and you know, some of the people that you follow here, you look at the videos that the ones that have the highest count involve a lot of drama, a lot of people going back and forth, talking over each other and arguing and stuff like that. We love that. When it comes to entertainment and all that stuff, we love entertainment. When it comes to race-based worldview, we will engage as long as it's about, you know, where at the end of the day, we all black. Everybody black. Let me do a documentary. It's talking about how the world, everything in the world was black, man. Forget the truth. Let's just talk about how everybody was black. See, some of y'all, it still ain't registering because you think I'm anti-black and saying, well, no, brother. See, we black people, we did a lot. They were suppressing stuff from us. I understand that. But I want truth above that. In other words, what was black, let it be black. What ain't black, let it not be black. But we're going to look at the whole thing, the right and the wrong and the indifferent. We need to look at all of it if we're going to learn from it. Do you understand what I'm saying? If we're going to learn from it. Let me show now the video that I'm going to show you now. I will have to warn you. It's going to be somewhat disturbing, but I'm going to show it to you anyway, because for some of you, you need to see it. Okay. And I'm going to pull it up here momentarily. Give me just a moment here. There you go. Give me just a moment. They may have taken it down. If they took it down, good for them. Did I bookmark it? Hold on for a sec. Let me just see. I'm just scrolling here. Almost finished, y'all. Oh, yeah, this is Lil Wayne explains how. Oh, yeah, it was Lil Wayne. The video said Lil Wayne explains how Baby, the rapper, and his older mentor forced him to commit sexual acts at 11 years old in front of a group of adults. Yeah, they may have taken it down. But the video that I was going to show you, yeah, because they may have gotten me in trouble on YouTube for that. But the video that I was going, oh, you know what? Hold on for a sec. I know where it is. I think I know where it is. Hold on. Yeah. I got it. All right, let me see. I'm going to play this video. Now, this is our people. This is black folks. But see, we're going to have to start being bold enough and calling this stuff out for what it is. And what has happened is what you see now in this movement now is like black folks want to delineate themselves from each other because nobody wants to stand up and say, you know what, this is wrong. And we got to do better than this. And we got to call this stuff out. There are some that are out here doing this, but by and large, we want to try to put distance from it and think that by throwing a blanket over it, it's okay. This is not okay. So this video here, it's going to be disturbing for some of you. I'm not going to even play the audio. I don't need to play the audio. But all you got to do is watch the video for yourself because it speaks for itself. I skipped over one part that was like really bad. But considering the rest of the video, it's going to be pretty relative of what bad is. But I want you to take a look here. Now, this ain't any other people. These are our people. Ultimately, it is. Oh, shoot. Hold on a minute. Now, this is out in the public, in the streets. This is supposedly at a cultural event. This one, I think, was out in the UK. But we have the same stuff like this that happens in the US. Now, I know a lot of our people, you don't want to see this and it's uncomfortable, and I get it. But this is what's going on. Okay. All right. Shoot. All right. So this is what's going on here. That's just a taste of some of the things that our people have been putting out. And so, like I said, the movement now is no, it ain't. That's them Negroes over in the UK. They ain't us. No, no, no. I ain't that. I'm a Hebrew. They ain't. We don't do that kind of stuff. Well, I'm an FBA. We don't do that. And what we've been doing is that we have been creating wall after wall after wall trying to do this. Now that actually came from a tweet that someone posted in response to someone that was from the Caribbean or something like that, because someone that was Caribbean, they said something sideways about Black Americans, and they were saying that, you know, Black Americans, they're dumb and stupid and raunchy and all that. And so in their response, they posted that video. And so I sat back and I was like, wow, thank you, Jewel, because you literally just took the word out of my mouth. I said, it is a race to the bottom. That's exactly what I said. It's literally a race to the bottom when you see this kind of stuff. And like I said, again, many of our people we don't want to talk about this. We want to disengage. We don't want to talk about this. We don't want to be, oh man, you just old and you just running your mouth and what you doing about it? What am I doing about it? I'm starting to have a conversation like I'm doing right now. That's what I'm doing right now. What am I doing about it? I've been raising my children. I spent over 20 years raising my children so that they don't turn out like that. That's what I'm doing right now. What have I been doing? I've been also telling other young people. I've spent many years likewise telling other children and showing them and giving them opportunities where they can have opportunities where they don't have to turn out like that. That's what I've been doing. So that answers that question if someone wants to come and say anything. All right. And that's just me. Many of you have been doing some of the same things, if not more. But we need more people standing up and standing for truth, period. Not just, well, you look at that and say, well, have you seen any of them rock concerts? White people do it too. I don't care what they do. What I care about is what we have been doing and what's keeping us in this matrix system. Do you understand what I'm saying? You have to be an individual. If you're trying to get out of this matrix system, you have to be a person that stands for truth, period. Not race-based truth. You got to be a person that stands for truth, period. You got to be a person that runs away from drama. I hate drama. I hate all the arguing. I hate it. I absolutely hate it. I love peaceful days. I don't know about you, but I love peaceful days. And when it comes to entertainment, I can do without it, quite honestly. My entertainment a lot of times is going for a walk, for real. My entertainment sometimes is occasionally watching a movie or maybe watching a series or whatever. Occasionally, I don't do it too often. That's about as far as I go. But our people today, it's a steady diet of entertainment, is a steady diet of arguing and debating, and it's something that is killing us as a people. So these three things, drama, extra emotionalism, entertainment, and having a race-based worldview, these are three things that I've noticed that are literally keeping our people within this matrix system and is allowing us and keeping us where we're just in this never-ending cycle, and we're never going anywhere with that. We're not. And it's been so heartbreaking to sit back and to watch this, because you do everything you can to really try to wake some people up. And, you know, unless you have certain ingredients, like if I had all three of those things on this channel would be doing, numbers wise, would be doing way, way better than what it's doing right now. But there are areas we're going to have to go. We got to be, right now, we're focused on the blueprint. We're focused on the schematics, on what makes this system tick and how can we get out of it. And when you start looking at life in that way, you're going to lose people. It's boring. It's not engaging. It's not. But you're going to have to start paying very close attention to these things, family, and really going to have to start asking some serious questions. You understand what I'm saying? If you want to break out of this system, you are. Okay. That is all I have for now on that. Now, the individual that I put out here, you know, I think she checked out. Like I said, anytime I post it up there and I invite people to come in, all of a sudden there's a hen in the oven, or, you know, there's some bread that got to be made or something like that. It never fails. But I am going to open the line up, because it's I think we're doing reasonably good on time now, but yes, ma'am. She said, yeah, I learned there is a difference between pro black and pro truth. And we have to, and what you said, sis, that that's what it's got to be. We got to be a people that's pro truth. And when you're pro truth, that trumps everything. It does. So anyway, give me just a moment here. And what I'll do is I'll set it up once again. If there's anything I said and you have a question about it, maybe you disagree with it, or maybe you have a comment, I'm going to give you opportunity to call in if you like. And you can call in and, like I said, just make sure you stay on your point, okay? Because if you start drifting off and jumping from one point to another, I'm going to have to stop you, okay? I'm going to be nice, but I am going to have to stop you so that you can stay on point and so that others can follow where the conversation is going. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm going to do that. So give me just a few moments here. I'll put on some music while I'm getting set up here. And I said I'm going to put on some music. Hold on for a second. Hold on. Where is it? No. Hold on. Not that. Hold on. There we go. All right. So give me a moment here. Let me get set up. It only take about a moment here. And I'm going to invite you to call in. All right. And you can chime in if you like. Okay. Let's see here. Okay. All right, that is set up there. And now let's go ahead and get this phone number up on the screen. And you can go ahead and call on in. The phone number is on the screen right now. You can call in. Like I said again, make sure you stay on point. Stay on your point. And we're going to keep it respectful, but I'm a person. I'm going to let you know, like I've let people know in the past, the same energy you bring to the table is the same energy you're going to be served. That's just how it is. Okay. So I don't mind what, you bring some kind of funky energy, but just know you're going to get it right back. Okay. You're going to get it right back. Okay. I prefer not to argue, or anything like that, but just know, it ain't like that here. Okay. So yeah, if you have any questions or anything like that, I am giving you opportunity right now to call that number on the screen. Don't worry. I ain't going to be calling you on the weekend. Like, what you doing? I got your phone number now. I ain't got time for that. Okay. Okay. I ain't got time for that at all. So don't worry. I ain't doing that with your phone number, but you can call in and chime in if you like. We'll hang around, but I ain't begging people too long. I'm gonna stay here for a little bit, because like the one sis, I gave her opportunity, to chime in if she likes, and I am here. You know what I mean? And I'm gonna be here for a minute. So anyway, trying to think what else while we're waiting for anybody to call, the chatty people to call. I know someone said, will Nicole be joining? She'll be joining us really soon. This is a very busy time of the year for our businesses and stuff. So, I'm definitely doing stuff, but she's really doing quite a bit with different things there. So she's been quite busy, but she'll be around very soon. It's a project that her and I are working on together. And, I'm gonna have her, or rather she'll be up here, and then we'll be chopping it up with her. I also have a video that I'm going to post soon on our recent trip. and it's her and I. We're up there, so you'll be seeing her on that video too. That will be coming up soon as well. So yeah, you'll be seeing a lot more of her. It's just between the move and the time of the year it is. This is really like a busy time for us, and so that's why even now, I mean, even for the videos I do, I ain't doing a whole lot of videos like I was doing before. It's because our focuses are elsewhere, and so anyway, here's the phone number here. If you want to call in, if it's something you agree with, if it's something you disagree with, if you just want to make a statement or whatever, go ahead and call on in. So let's see if we can get this to work here the first time around, okay? Hello, caller. Can you hear me?
Hi, yes, you can. I can.
You can hear me. Great. Okay. So how you doing this evening?
I am good.
Good.
I've been listening to you, and even though you said our people were not familiar with the Bible, my great grandfather, he was a practicing Hebrew, but so you're right in a sense because he was aware of the Bible, and he said the Bible was not the right Bible, and he actually had the Maccabees Bible. That's what he read. And just wanted to share that.
And you said this was your great grandfather or your great grandfather? I didn't catch that.
My great grandfather.
Your great grandfather. Okay, I know we got to get it right.
Yeah.
I got you. Okay, and so you say he had
okay. So he was aware of the Bible, but he said that was not the right Bible.
That's interesting. And so even going back to your great grandfather, again, this is he might have been, if he was in slavery, he was like on the tail end of it. But I guarantee you,
he was on the tail end of it. He was a child of slaves.
Yeah.
What I am telling you is what was handed down for me from his grandchildren, which is my aunt and my uncles. And so their experience with him, and my grandmother used to ask him why black people are so unlucky, and he said because we turned our backs on God.
And that's the narrative. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead. So that's what he passed down to the family.
That's what he passed down. Yes, he was practicing Hebrew. So, but I think it was said in the Bible that we would forget who we were. So yes, my grandfather was not aware of that. It's the generation currently is who is aware of it now, and going back and asking questions and trying to learn what everything was. That's how we found out about that.
Now, then let me just ask you this, and I appreciate you calling in and sharing that, because what we've done is take it the next step, and that is, okay, we, like in this case here, you're saying your great grandfather, he had some knowledge, and you said, when you say he was a practicing Hebrew, I want to make sure I'm getting that right? Is that what you said?
Well, yes, that's what they didn't come out and say that. They say he had the beanie on his head, and he was a mentor in the community. Everybody, he went, any juvenile, any child that was on the bad side or on the bad road, they sent them to him to kind of get them on the right path to understand. So he kind of was a mentor for the community, the younger kid, the younger guy.
Now, where did your grandfather grow up?
My grandfather grew up in the West Indies, Antigua.
That makes sense. There was a video that we did a while back where we talked about the Hebrew movement, let's just say the Black Hebrew movement, where it's, even though it really got a firm push in in places like in New York, specifically like in Harlem, it actually started back even further back than that in the Caribbean, specifically in the West Indies, Jamaica. There's another island as well. But out of that, you had a lot of people who migrated out of like the West Indies or whatever, and their first stop, if you will. Like, let me ask you this: do you have any relatives at all that live in New York?
Yes, a lot of my relatives live in New York.
So a lot of our people, yeah, they migrated from, like places like you mentioned, like the West Indies and all that. And then they went to places like New York and all that, where they carried some elements of this Hebrew practice. But what we also talked about was within that Hebrew practice, there were some other things that was added to it. One of the main things, of course, was Judaism. And it was Judaism. It was, I'm going back. There was a few other things that was added to it as well. And so it was a mix of a lot of things. So what you're saying, it sounds pretty accurate, and it doesn't sound strange at all, especially if you're saying if it was your great grandfather, that coincides with what we've discovered too. And I do find that quite fascinating, because a lot of people, I think they just focus more on what's online today. You got Hebrew teachers online, and they've just discovered it 2 years ago. Now all of a sudden they're a grand moire, but in reality, this is something that has gone back for a long. I mean, you're talking late 1800s, early 1900s. One other thing I would add too is what you said is your great grandfather being right around that time of like the tail end of slavery, because
actually he died in his 90s. Sorry, he died in his 90s. I think would have been kind of upper 1800s, because my grandfather was born 1908. So he was like, he was higher 1800s. And another thing too, I remember hearing the story of some of the men from Antigua, and they were saying when they were small, the ships used to come, and they used to tell them, with the white Jewish men, they used to tell them, you guys are a special people from God. So try to stay on the right path and stuff like that. But they always to share with them that they're a special people. They're God's people, and they're a special people.
Yeah, they were special, and they said, now get on out there and pick my pick my sugar cane and pick my cotton too, and yeah, they say that. A lot of them say that, but then they have but their same religion has licensed them to enslave us and all of that, and we're trying to be like them. So let me ask you this: did you ever hear your great grandfather, or your grandfather for that matter, refer anytime when the family got together? Did he ever say, "Hey, Mishpachah, come on together"? Shalom, family. Did you ever hear your grandfather? Now, I said your great grandfather, but your grandfather, because I'm sure you probably have more memories of your grandfather.
No, I think my grandfather missed that. He and his father didn't get along too well, and it was because of his mom. So he kind of missed that. That's why my grandmother reached out to his father, so he can, have a connection with the family. My grandfather didn't like how my great grandfather dealt with his wife. His wife, which was my grandfather's mom. So both of them had their points on both sides, and both of them was correct to a certain extent. Not to get into the family issue, but but so my grandmother is the one who was always, kept him in touch, but he did not practice what his father practiced.
I understand. Okay.
So now it skipped him, it skipped his kids, which were my aunt and my uncle. So now our generation is aware of it. But when we try to let them know, they used to go to 3-4 churches every Sunday. So you can't tell them, for example, they'll say Jesus was not white. They'll be like, it doesn't matter what color he is. It doesn't matter what color he is, So that's what the whole thing is. And I think it skipped 2 generations. Having a knowledge of, something is not right in terms of what they're following, in terms of Christianity.
And then the last thing, let me just, and I appreciate you again calling in and giving us this. The last thing, what I tell people is, what we do as a people, regardless if it's black people, if it's white people, it don't matter, Asians or whatever, there are things that we do as human beings that are instinctive. They're culturally instinctive. Like, for example, I'm sure if you go back and, in your childhood growing up, there are things that meals that your parents cooked or you guys enjoyed. There were certain dances and stuff that are instinctively African. They're not
correct
in any way, shape, or form. Like, I can go to the West Indies right now. I can go to, a lot of these Caribbean countries and see that, man, I feel like I'm in Africa now, because some of the same things and even some of the expressions and stuff that we have, you can find a lot of connection with that versus let's say me saying, you know what, that's what the Sephardic Jews did in Spain. You know what I mean? You ain't gonna find that, so there are a lot of things that we just do instinctively. You don't have to be taught to be who you are. You understand what I'm saying? There are things that are just instinctive. They just come out. And that's what I know on this platform, what we try to do is get people to focus on that. And yes, we have certainly been lied to, and we need to do our investigation to the best of our ability. But at the same time, we also need to trust in who we are right now, and there are a lot of great things that are put inside of us that we need to appreciate, because what we're seeing right now is a lot of people are saying, no, we're not African. We don't have anything to do with Africa. They're the cursed people, but we're the blessed people, that kind of thing. When I know for me, when I hear that kind of stuff, I'm like, no, I ain't with that. I think we can embrace that, and we should love it and appreciate it, and then get to the truth at that hand, so. But I appreciate you calling in.
Also, just
go ahead.
Can I say one thing quickly? When I first went to college, and I went, I came, I'm from the Caribbean, so I went to America. A lot of people had looked so familiar to me, and I've never been there. So there's some familiarity we have innately with each other that I for some reason, it's like these people up here, they look like people I know. Just like you said, if you could go down to the Caribbean, you can see, okay, I've been Africa. But just the familiarity of the people is like people that I knew. So there's something there innately in us also. Okay? Anyway, I'm gone, and I've been following you guys, and you guys are awesome. Okay? Take care. Bye-bye.
Well, I appreciate you calling. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your day now. Take care. All right. Well, that was great. I appreciate her calling in and sharing that. And like I said, family, listen, we don't have to agree on everything. It ain't like that. You know what I mean? I think, the reason why I like open up the phone lines like this is it pushes past the people hiding in the chat. You know what I mean? I had one person trying to go in on us earlier today. He told me, I've been with y'all, he was saying something. And I was like, bro, I don't know you. I don't know. You know what I mean? And, and you using these fictitious names and all this stuff. I don't know you. You know what I mean? And so it allows us to get to know who else is in the room a little bit. You understand what I'm saying? And so that's why we have the phone number here, so that you can call in and share what's on your mind. So, but yeah, there's a phone number again. It's right there on the screen. One thing I will add to is, because I have some people that will call after the broadcast and will try to leave a voice message. I have to disable that, because I ain't listening to voice messages. Once this is done, it's done. Okay, so I'm just gonna let you know, so if you're watching this and it's recorded, it means that it's over. Okay, it's over. But anyway, I'm gonna give y'all a few more moments. Maybe I'll put on music again, and gonna give people time if you want to call in, because sometimes people gotta get warmed up. I understand, like she just called, and I think she blocked her number or something like that. That's fine. So that's why I say, if you got concerns with that, you can do that too. I'll answer. Other days, when if it's no call ID, I ain't gonna answer, because I know who that's calling. The person's name is Nobody. That's who it is. But this is how we learn, family. This is how our goal is to get out of this matrix system. And we got to be willing to dialogue. We got to be willing to talk about these things. And if we don't understand, you know, we got to be willing to try to understand it the best way we can. All right. And if you're just joining us, really appreciate you joining us. Make sure if you're not signed up for the mailing list for sambatree.com, make sure you sign up for that, because we are about to release our Samba Super Sales Season. We're about to release that, and that's going to be like our Black Friday. It's going to be a huge sale. We're putting the finishing touches right now on a new product that we're about to release. I know y'all going to really, really like that one. And again, the website is sambatree.com. All right. So anyway, still waiting. You know, I do this is like an exercise for me, because it's so funny to see the amount of people that have a lot to say in the comment section. But then when I open up the phone lines and say, okay, call in, and you see how calm I am right now? They won't even call. It doesn't hurt my feelings any though. It don't. But I want just to show people, you know, hey, listen, let's hear what you got to say, you know, and then we can kind of go from there. So I'm gonna give it about another minute or so, and after that, I think I'm gonna call it tonight. So you got one more minute here, and then I think I'm gonna go ahead and call it tonight. The phone number's on the screen right there. I'll even read it to you, okay? In case you reaching for your reading glasses, it's 323-696-0250. All right, 323-696-0250. All right. So yeah, so especially if you're one of these that in the distance, like I said again, someone that was trying to go in on us a little bit in the comment section. You know, you're like one of these people that's in the distance and you saying stuff or whatever. It's like, okay, come on in, come on in the room, come on in, and let's talk. Let's listen to what you got to say. But it doesn't seem like we have too many people tonight. We just had the one. And I appreciate it. So I think that's it. We're going to wrap it up right here, family. I hope you really got something tonight out of this. Our goal is to get out of this matrix system. And this matrix system has held so many of our people back. So we're going to get into, like I said, again, that part about drama. What's the opposite of drama? It's peace. So when we start talking, that's right, Wanda, they're just gone. We're going to talk about the importance of quiet. And when we get into this, family, that's going to be really something. I'm really looking forward to that. Maybe Sunday, family, maybe Sunday, we'll get into that one, okay? I'll let you know. Because tomorrow I'm trying to figure out, I think we may have something to do tomorrow. But Sunday, we'll get into that, okay? Hopefully we'll get it. That'll be Sunday. I'll let you know. I'll give you a heads up on that. Talk about the importance of peace. And I know that's really going to help many of you on that. Okay. So that's it, family. I'm going to wrap it up here. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your evening. Let me go ahead and turn the phone off and do not disturb. Don't call me. It's too late. And then we're done. All right, family, listen, you guys take care. Enjoy the rest of your evening and the weekend. Love you very much. We love you enough to tell you the truth. All right, you take care and talk to you again soon.